Hey everyone, it's Susan Jones and welcome back to my Sunday Spotlight. This week I wanted to go ahead and share 3 fun ways to celebrate the end of the year virtually. Now, obviously this year is very different in terms of what you would normally do in your classroom might not be able to be possible. So I wanted to share some ideas that I had for kind of some ways to celebrate the year, even if it's not in that traditional way. I also wanted to go ahead and share it now in the middle of May because I know that many schools all over the country are actually ending early, and some are even starting about revving up and beginning school a little early next year. So I figured the sooner I can get this out, the better. So here are my 3 ideas for celebrating the end of the year. Let's go. The first one I wanted to share is to go ahead and have a virtual end of year award ceremony. Now, in my classroom, at the end of each year, I would always give a little award to each of my students. I've never created my own. In fact, I've always just looked on TPT and either purchased some. I've done some candy bar awards in the past. I've done emoji awards in the past, and I've done plenty of editable awards as well. And so based on my kids that year, I will kind of pick out, some awards, and I will give a special one to each and every student. So when students would receive their award, what I would usually do when we were in the classroom is that person would come on up and they would actually go ahead and they would receive 3 compliments from the class as well. So I would give them their award, I would call out whatever it was, call them on up, and then while they're standing in front of the class, I would pick 3 different students to share a compliment. And we would obviously talk about this first, and we would explain how it should be about their personality and their traits like that. So my students were pretty used to this. Now, obviously that's not exactly possible this year, but I thought a nice way to switch that up would be if you could actually send out an email first, either an email or however you're communicating with your students, and their job is to provide some compliments for each and every student in your class. You can go ahead and give them some examples so they know what to pull from, but this type of assignment gets them really thinking about their classmates and gives you a ton of ideas for how your students view their other classmates. And then once you've gathered all of those compliments, when you give your award virtually to each student, you can go ahead and list some or all of the compliments that their classmates gave them with a picture of that student. So if you were doing this via Zoom or Google Meet or virtually, I would basically pretend that you're in the classroom and I would say, and the award for fantastic friend goes to Robert, and this is why. And we'd all clap for him, and then I would go ahead and actually share some of the compliments that students have said about him. Now, if you're not meeting virtually in any sort of way, this is something you could tape. You could either tape yourself talking like this and go through everybody in your class, or you could make a little presentation on PowerPoint or in Google Slides, and you could put each person on there, and I would put each of my students, I would list some of the compliments that their friends gave them, and I would share the award with them that way. I just thought that was a feel-good way to still have that award ceremony and celebrate all the students in your class. I was also looking up some cool ways to kind of celebrate after that together in case you are doing this, all at one time. And I typed in how to watch a virtual fireworks show, and I found out that Disney World actually, I'm gonna see if I can link it for you, because Disney World actually is sharing their end of the night fireworks show. So it is online, so if you wanted to go ahead and screen share with your students during that time, you could screen share and you could all watch the fireworks show together after your award ceremony. That might be an extra little bonus for you. The second way to celebrate the end of the year is to have some sort of virtual party together. To do this, it would be virtually, so you have to assess if you can do that with your students, but you would basically make a time probably around the nighttime in the evening and pick a theme. So they might be a pajama party or a dress up in your fancy clothes party, whatever you decide you want to do. Pajamas is probably easiest. And everyone can show up in their pajamas with some popcorn or with a snack, and you can either read them a story and kind of celebrate together, or you could even screen share some clips from a movie or anything that you find something for you to watch all together. Students can bring their stuffed animals, and they can even chat afterwards and share their favorite part of the movie or the book, whatever you decide to do. But basically just a way to all come together in your cozy pajamas and just see each other and celebrate one last time. My last idea for having an end of the year kind of celebration is to have a balloon pop. Now, I usually in the classroom, you've probably seen this all over the place, I will usually hold themed days at the end of the year. So I usually have about 5 to 6 days where it's a full camping day and everything we do that day is camping related, right? So instead, I've also seen other teachers have these themed days and they usually fill up balloons. And inside the balloon will be like today's camping day, or maybe there's an activity you can do that day. And so obviously you're not going to have balloons inside your classroom, but you can still do a balloon pop. And you can do this either by having balloons yourself and showing students you actually popping it. They may enjoy that. Or I've created this kind of digital balloon pop with some ideas that you can do. And so I have 5 balloons here, and essentially each day you'll pop one of the balloons to reveal an activity or a theme that you might want to do with your class. And this you can do either via Zoom or just a screen share if you are recording lessons. And I'll actually go ahead and put a little screen up here and show you how it works. So I've already set mine up, but here I have 5 different balloons, and behind each one is where you will go ahead and you will type in your activity or whatever you want them to do. Maybe you will want them to show up to their next Zoom meeting with sunglasses, or maybe you want them to go outside and read a book for 20 minutes and then take a picture of it or something like that. You can definitely pick any of the activities that you want depending on what you and your students are working on at this time. But essentially what you'll do is when you click the balloon, it will disappear in a few different ways and it will reveal what that activity is. So each day you can go ahead and reveal a new activity for your class. What this type of activity does is it creates a little suspense. It really makes them want to tune in to your lesson or join the Zoom meeting so they can see what you're going to be focusing on that day. I did include this PowerPoint or Google slide presentation for free down in the description below, so make sure you click that if you want to just download it and use this digital version. Again, you can always type in whatever activities you want to use. So there you are. There are 3 fun ways that you can go ahead and still celebrate the end of this crazy, crazy year. I hope they've helped you or at least inspired an idea that you might be able to use with your classroom. If you have ideas or different ways you're celebrating, please go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. That way teachers can read them as well. And as always, if you liked this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up so I know. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That way you're notified of every new week's video. See you next week. Bye.